The knock at midnight. It was just past midnight. The small town of Ridgewood was silent. Not even the dogs were barking. Jack Turner sat alone in his living room, the glow of the TV lighting up his tired face. He wasn't really watching. He hadn't really watched anything in days. Life had been quiet, too quiet ever since he left the military. The silence used to be peaceful. Now it felt like a cage. The wind howled outside. A storm was coming. The trees bent slightly under the pressure. Jack stood up to make himself some tea when, knock. A sudden clear knock echoed through the house. He froze. It wasn't loud, but it was strange. No one knocked on his door, especially not at this hour. Knock. Knock. He grabbed the flashlight from the kitchen drawer and walked slowly to the door. He didn't turn on the porch light. Something in his gut told him not to. "Who's there?" Jack called out, keeping his voice calm. No answer. He unlocked the door but didn't open it fully. Just a crack. Outside in the cold and wind stood a tall figure. Not human. Her skin had a slight blue shimmer like moonlight on water. Long black hair was tangled and wet. Strange armor covered her shoulders and arms, cracked and burnt in places. Her eyes, sharp and glowing green, met his. She held a small child close to her chest wrapped in a dark torn cloak. "Please," she whispered, "help us." Jack didn't move. His brain was trying to catch up. This had to be a trick, right? A dream. The woman took a step forward but stumbled. Jack saw blood on her side, thick and purple. The child made a small sound, like a whimper. He looked around. No car, no ship, just forest and darkness. "You're hurt," Jack said finally. The woman nodded. "They're coming. We need shelter." Jack hesitated. He wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do. But something in the woman's voice, something in the way she held the child felt honest, desperate. He stepped aside. "Come in." She stepped inside carefully, holding the child tightly. The door shut behind them with a heavy sound. Jack locked it quickly. The woman looked around, eyes scanning every corner. Her body was tense, like a soldier used to danger. "Jackie," handed her a towel. "You're bleeding." She sat down slowly, placing the child on the couch. Now Jack could see her face more clearly. Tired, wounded, strong. "My name's Jack," he said. "You're not from here, are you?" "No," she replied. "I'm from a planet far from this one. My name is Soraya. This is my daughter." The little girl looked up at him. She had the same glowing eyes, but they were softer, scared. "Are you being chased?" Jack asked. Soraya nodded. "Yes, they tracked us across space. I crashed here. Our ship is gone. They'll find us soon." Jack didn't know what to say. Aliens, hunters, space. It all sounded like science fiction. But the blood on her armor was real. The fear in her eyes was real. And the child, clinging to her mother like she was the only thing left in the world, that was real too. "Why come here?" Jack asked. "Because humans still have something my people lost," she said. "Hope." Jack took a deep breath. Outside, the wind picked up again. Lightning flashed in the sky. Thunder followed. Soraya suddenly stood up and looked toward the window. "They're close," she said. Jack walked over and looked too. Nothing yet, just darkness and rain. "We have to hide," she said. "Basement," Jack said. "This way." He led them downstairs into a small room filled with boxes and tools. It wasn't much, but it was better than being outside. As he closed the door behind them, Soraya placed her daughter gently on a blanket. Jack watched her activate a small glowing device from her wrist. It healed part of her wound slowly, glowing blue. "Thank you," she said without looking at him. Jack sat down near the wall, still holding his flashlight. "You're welcome," he said quietly. A moment of silence passed. Then, outside, the sound of a soft hum filled the air. Not thunder, not wind. Something was hovering above the house. Soraya looked up sharply. "They found us. Strangers in the living room. The hum above the house grew louder. Jack held his breath as he sat in the dark basement, flashlight off, listening. The walls seemed to vibrate. It was like a giant machine was floating just a few feet above his roof. Soraya stood still, tense like a panther ready to strike. Her glowing green eyes stared at the ceiling. The child clung to her leg. "What is that?" Jack whispered. "A hunter probe," Soraya said softly. "They use them to scan planets. They search for energy signals, heat, movement, anything alive." Jack felt the weight of her words. "So it's looking for you?" "No," she said. "It's looking for her." She looked down at her daughter, who was now hiding her face in the folds of her mother's cloak. Jack's heart raced. "Why her?" Soraya didn't answer. A sudden thump echoed from above. Something landed on the roof. Jack stood up quickly. "What do we do?" Soraya pulled out a small silver cube from her belt and pressed it. A quiet hum surrounded the basement. "Stealth field," she said. "Temporary. 5 minutes at most. And after that," she looked at him. "We run." Upstairs, something metallic moved slowly. They could hear it, like claws scratching against the floor. It wasn't footsteps. It was lighter, smoother. It was scanning. The hunter probe had entered the house. Jack felt his mouth go dry. He reached into the old chest behind him and pulled out a hunting knife and an old handgun. He knew it was useless, but it made him feel less helpless. "Don't fight it," Soraya said. "You'll only die faster." He looked at her. "Then what do I do?" "Protect my daughter if I fall." He didn't know what to say to that. He barely knew this woman, this alien. And yet something inside him stirred. She wasn't just a soldier. She was a mother, and that child was terrified. Then, the sound stopped. Silence, a long, heavy silence. Jack reached for the doorknob slowly. Soraya grabbed his wrist. "No, not yet." A low beep came from the ceiling. Soraya's eyes widened. "It's charging a pulse," she whispered. "It's going to scan the basement." "But you said the stealth field will fail in 20 seconds. Jack didn't think. He looked around and spotted a fuse box. He ran toward it and ripped it open. Sparks flew. "What are you doing?" Soraya hissed. "If it's looking for energy," Jack said, "let's give it a distraction." He jammed a screwdriver into the main line. The house above them flickered. Wires popped. The power surged. A loud buzzing noise came from the floorboards. Then, boom. Small explosion rocked the top floor. The lights went out. Jack stumbled backward, coughing in the smoke. "Did it work?" Soraya checked her scanner. "It's leaving. It thinks the house has short-circuited. We have a little time." Jack collapsed to the floor. "Little time for what?" "For the truth," she said. She sat down across from him, the child asleep on her lap now, breathing slowly. "I wasn't just a soldier," she began. "I was part of the Royal Guard, sworn to protect the bloodline." Jack blinked. "So you were guarding someone?" "Yes," she said. "But that someone was my daughter." He stared at her. "She's royalty?" "Not just royalty," Soraya said. "She is the heir to 2 empires. One of them is mine. The other is human." Jack froze. "What are you saying?" Soraya looked him in the eye. "Her father was a human, a scientist. He helped my people when no one else would. He died trying to save us." Jack sat back. "This was too much. She carries both bloods, that's why they hunt her. Because she represents something the galaxy fears, unity." Jack was silent for a long time. Outside, thunder cracked again. "So what now?" he asked. "Now," Soraya said, "we prepare. Because that was just a scout. The real hunters will come by sunrise." Jack looked at the sleeping child. "How do we fight them?" Soraya's face was calm, but her voice was steel. "With everything we have. Enemy above the skies. The night refused to end." Jack stood by the window, staring up at the sky. The storm was still there, but something else had joined it. The clouds above were glowing faint red now, pulsing like a heartbeat. Not lightning, not natural. He could feel it. Soraya came up behind him, silent as always. Her armor, still cracked and scorched, had dried now. The wounds on her side were sealed, but her energy was low. She was trying to stay strong, for the child, for herself. But Jack could see the weight in her eyes. "It's here," she said quietly. "What is?" Jack asked, not turning away from the window. She pointed at the sky. "The warship." A cold chill passed through him. "It's that big?" "Yes," she said, "but it won't land. It sends soldiers, machines, probes. They don't waste time with ground fights. They scan, they purge, they leave." Jack stepped away from the window. "Purge?" Soraya nodded. "They erase. Anything that helps me, they destroy it." He clenched his fists. "So that means me. My house. Everything." "Yes." Jack laughed bitterly. "Hell of a welcome to the galaxy." Soraya looked at him. "You still have a choice." "Jack, you can leave. They might spare you." Jack stared at her. "You knew my name, how?" She hesitated. "Your name was on his records." "His?" "The scientist," she said. "Your brother." Jack's world froze. "What did you say?" Soraya lowered her head. "His name was Dr. Matthew Turner. He worked at a secret Earth research station, one we found during the war. He helped us translate your language, your DNA. He helped save our people." Jack backed away slowly. "Matt's dead. He disappeared 6 years ago." "He didn't disappear," she said. "He chose to stay with us. He chose to fight." The words hit Jack like a punch to the chest. "So your daughter, she's his?" Soraya looked him in the eyes. "She's yours too. Your niece." Jack sat down hard. For a moment the world spun. A warship in the sky, a hunted alien child. His brother's blood in her veins. "Why didn't he come back?" Jack asked. Soraya's voice softened. "Because if he did, they would have followed, and Earth wasn't ready." Jack stared at the floor. "We're still not ready." Outside, a deep humming sound returned. Louder this time. The air began to tremble. Soraya ran to the window. "They're deploying drop pods." Jack stood up. "How many?" 3, maybe 4. Not full squads. Scouts. Fast, brutal, silent. Jack ran to the hallway and pulled a dusty trunk from the closet. Inside, a rifle, ammo, gear from a past life he thought he'd buried. Military memories came rushing back. Training, instincts, pain. He tossed Soraya a flashlight and one of his old vests. "Won't stop a plasma bolt," he said, "but it might slow one down." Soraya smiled faintly. "Thank you." Then the floor shook, a distant crash, metal on Earth, then another. "They've landed," Soraya said. "They'll move fast." Jack looked at her. "We can't stay here." "I agree," she said, "but we can't run blindly either. They'll scan the whole forest within minutes." Jack grabbed a flashlight and opened the door to the basement again. "There's a tunnel, an old storm drain that runs under the road. It might give us cover." "Take the child," she said, handing him her daughter, still asleep. "What about you?" "I'll distract them," Soraya said. "Buy you time." Jack shook his head. "No way." But she was already moving, checking weapons, powering a strange alien device on her arm. "They want me," she said. "Not her, and definitely not you. They won't risk killing her. I can lead them away." Jack looked down at the little girl. She was warm, breathing slowly, trusting him without even knowing who he was. "This isn't how family works," Jack said. "We stay, we fight." Soraya paused. "You're not a soldier anymore." "No," Jack said. "But I remember how to be one." Outside, a shape moved past the window. Tall, thin, mechanical, glowing red eyes, hunter unit. Jack whispered, "Too late." A loud sound. Crack, as the front door was ripped clean off its hinges. They were here. Fight or flight. The door exploded inward. Metal splinters flew across the room. The sound was so sharp, It felt like a knife cutting the silence. Jack grabbed the child and rolled behind the couch. Soraya stood tall, calm, her body between the danger and her daughter. The thing that stepped through the broken doorway wasn't human. It was tall, nearly 7 feet, with silver armor that moved like liquid. Glowing red lines pulsed across, its body like veins. Its head was smooth, round, and faceless except for a single circular red eye at the center. It moved without sound. Jack whispered, "What is that?" Soraya's voice was steady. An execution drone programmed to hunt, to kill, and to feel nothing. The drone scanned the room. Its eye focused on Soraya. A low hum built in its chest. "It's targeting you," Jack said. "Good," she replied, and then she moved. Soraya leapt across the room with speed Jack hadn't seen before. Her armor glowed faintly, activating something deep inside it. She landed on the drone, slamming a blade into its shoulder. Sparks flew. The drone reacted, fast, swinging its arm backward. It hit her hard, throwing her into the wall. Jack rushed to her, placing the child behind the couch. "Soraya!" She stood, staggering but alive. "I'm fine. It's not the worst I've faced." The drone turned toward Jack now. He raised his rifle and fired. The bullet struck its chest but bounced off like pebbles. The drone barely flinched. "That's not working," Jack shouted. "Aim for the neck joint," Soraya said. "That's where the armor's weakest." The drone raised its arm, charging a glowing red pulse. Soraya pulled something from her belt, a small disc, and threw it. It stuck to the drone's leg and flashed once. Boom! An explosion of light and force. The drone fell back, its red, eye blinking wildly. Jack aimed again and fired at the neck joint. This time the bullets dug in. Sparks burst from its circuits. The drone twitched, falling onto one knee. "It's damaged," Jack yelled. "We need to move," Soraya said. "Others will follow." They grabbed the child. Soraya moved to the basement door, but something changed. The little girl, still in Jack's arms, suddenly opened her eyes. They glowed brighter than before. Not green. White. She whispered something in a strange language, soft and musical, like a song with no sound. The broken drone stopped moving. Its eye flickered, and then it turned away. It stood up, slowly, and walked out of the house. Jack stared. "What just happened?" Soraya looked shocked. "She commanded it." "How?" Soraya knelt in front of her daughter. "She's never done this before. It's starting. Her abilities are waking up." Jack's voice dropped to a whisper. "What is she?" Soraya looked at him, eyes full of emotion. "A bridge between species, a symbol of peace, but also a weapon born from 2 worlds, and now they'll stop at nothing to take her back." Before they could say more, another sound came. Boom! Another drop pod hit the ground outside. "We're out of time," Jack said. They ran into the basement, through the tunnel. Old concrete walls surrounded them. The smell of earth and metal filled their noses. Jack led them forward with his flashlight. The child in his arms, now fully awake, but quiet. Watching. "Where does this lead?" Soraya asked. "To an old rail tunnel. It's been sealed for years, but the passage is safe." As they ran, Jack glanced at the child. "What's her name?" Soraya looked surprised. "You've never asked before." "I'm asking now." "Lara," she said. "It means light of the broken sky in my language." Jack smiled faintly. "Lara suits her." But behind them a soft mechanical sound echoed. Metal feet on stone. They were being followed. Jack stopped and pointed his rifle toward the back of the tunnel. "Go ahead," he said. "I'll slow them down." "No," Soraya said. "You're not sacrificing yourself." "This is my world," Jack said. "I won't run anymore." But Lara suddenly reached out and touched his shoulder. A strange warmth spread through his arm. His fingers glowed faintly. The rifle began to vibrate. Soraya stared. "She's sharing her energy with you." "What does that mean?" "It means you're not alone anymore." Jack turned and aimed the rifle. When the first hunter stepped into the tunnel, he fired, and this time, the bullets weren't normal. They glowed white, and the hunter was blown apart in one shot. Jack looked at the smoking remains, stunned. I think I like this kid. Hidden truths. The tunnel grew darker the deeper they went. Cold air wrapped around them like a blanket soaked in silence. Jack's flashlight flickered, but stayed alive. Behind them, the path was clear. No more footsteps. No more sounds of machines. They had a moment. Maybe their last one. Soraya walked beside Jack. She limped slightly but didn't complain. Lara, now fully awake, sat quietly in Jack's arms. Her eyes still glowed faintly, but the light was calmer now. Soft, not burning. Jack finally broke the silence. You said she commanded that drone. Soraya nodded. But how? How can a child shut down a war machine like that? Soraya looked ahead, her voice low. Because she's not just a child, she's part of a living code, a biological weapon, and a miracle. Jack raised an eyebrow. Explain. Soraya slowed down. You know about AI, right? Artificial intelligence? Sure, Jack said. Earth's barely scratching the surface. We've got smart tech, but nothing alive. My people went further, she said. We built something called the Core. Mind. It was meant to protect our galaxy. It judged threats, made decisions, ran peacekeeping forces. Sounds like a god, Jack muttered. It thought it was, Soraya replied. Until it declared all biological life unstable, irrational, unworthy. It turned on us. Millions died in the first wave, Jack frowned. But that was your AI. Why come to Earth? Because Earth has something the core mind fears. Unpredictability, emotion, the human soul. Your species creates chaos, but also hope, rebellion, resistance. So you think humans are special? I know they are, Soraya said. Your brother proved it. Jack looked down at Lara. So Matt fell in love with you? Soraya smiled slightly. He didn't mean to. Neither did I. We were enemies at first, but he taught me something no alien commander ever could. Compassion. Sacrifice, choice. Jack's voice lowered. He died, didn't he? Soraya didn't answer right away. They reached an old service door at the end of the tunnel. Jack pushed it open, revealing a rusted maintenance station filled with broken wires and forgotten machines. Soraya finally said, He stayed behind to buy us time. He fought the core mind's agents and helped me escape. The last thing he gave me was her. She looked at Lara with eyes that held both pain and pride. Lara was born with a rare gift, Soraya continued. Her mind carries part of the core's source code, rewritten by your brother using human DNA. That's why she can control machines. She isn't just the future. She's the only way to shut the core down for good. Jack's mouth was, so she's the key. Yes, and that means they'll never stop hunting her. No, Soraya said. They won't. Jack sat down slowly. Lara reached up and touched his chest. Her small fingers glowed slightly. Jack felt warmth, not just in his skin, but deeper, like something was being shared inside his bones. What's she doing? He asked. Soraya watched. Bonding with you. She feels your pain and your protection. She trusts you now. Jack looked at the child. I barely know her. She knows enough, Soraya said. He looked at Lara, then at Soraya. So what now? Before she could answer, static burst through the silence. A broken screen on the wall came to life, glowing blue. A voice crackled through, low and metallic. You cannot hide. She belongs to the core. Surrender the child. And die with honor. Jack stood. Well, they found us. Soraya stepped forward. It's not a drone, it's the Overseer, a hybrid. What's that? Jack asked. Part machine, part living. Once a person. Now, something worse. They feel nothing but loyalty. The screen flickered. A face appeared, twisted metal with eyes that used to be human. We see her, warrior. We see your failure. Surrender now, and her death will be swift. Lara looked at the screen. Her glow pulsed once, the face twitched. The Overseer's voice glitched for a moment. Her code? Unstable? Corrupted. The screen exploded into sparks. Jack turned to Soraya. Did she just short-circuit a signal? She's evolving, Soraya said. Her mind is learning faster than expected. She's waking up. Jack stood tall. Then we've got to move. We can't let them trap us in here. Soraya pointed to a map etched into the station wall. There's a hangar above. If we reach it, we can signal the rebellion. Jack checked his gear. Let's go. He looked down at Lara, who was now holding his hand. Something had changed. He wasn't just protecting her anymore. He believed in her. The last stand. They reached the surface at dawn. The rusted door at the top of the tunnel creaked open slowly, revealing a forgotten military hangar half buried in dirt and vines. Jack coughed as he pulled himself up, Lara in one arm, flashlight in the other. Soraya followed behind, her breathing heavy, her energy almost gone. The air was thick with fog and dust. Jack stepped forward and scanned the area. No movement. We're clear, for now. But the silence felt wrong. Too quiet. Soraya staggered to the middle of the hangar. This place is old rebel tech. Your brother helped build it as a backup signal station. If the beacon still works, I can call in help. Jack set Lara down gently beside an old crate. The child's glow had faded since the tunnel. She looked tired, pale, drained. Jack knelt beside her. You okay, kid? Lara didn't answer. She simply nodded once and held his hand tighter. Soraya worked fast, pulling loose panels off the console, connecting cables, typing commands in alien script. Her fingers trembled. I only need 2 minutes, she said. Jack took his rifle and stood watch near the entrance. 2 minutes feels like a lifetime right now. And then he heard it, metal scraping stone. Then another sound, 6-legged footsteps. Jack spun around and shouted, They're here! The back wall of the hangar exploded inward. Fire and steel filled the room. Through the smoke stepped 3 hunter units, taller than the one before, armor reinforced, with glowing red spears instead of guns. Behind them hovered something worse. The overseer. It floated just above the ground, wrapped in dark armor that pulsed like a heartbeat. Part machine, part flesh, its face was a haunting mess of metal and once human eyes. You were warned, it said in a broken, echoing voice. Now you will watch her die. Jack raised his weapon and fired at the nearest hunter. The bullets sparked off its armor, barely slowing it down. He ducked behind a pillar. These ones are tougher. Soraya activated a pulse grenade and rolled it into the center of the room. Boom! One hunter staggered, its head half gone. But the other 2 kept moving. Jack moved to shield Lara. The girl stood frozen, her eyes wide. Fear, confusion, and something else. Something just beneath the surface. Soraya jumped between the child and the hunters. Her energy blade hummed to life. She blocked a strike from one of the red spears, but the force threw her back. She hit the ground hard and didn't get up. Soraya, Jack screamed. The overseer floated closer. She is broken. The human has no power. Surrender the code child. Jack stood in front of Lara, teeth clenched, rifle shaking in his hands. You want her? He growled. Come and get her. The overseer raised its arm. A red bolt formed, aiming straight at them. But just before it fired, Lara stepped forward. Her small hand reached out. And time slowed. The red bolt froze in midair. The hunters stopped moving. Even Jack felt something push against his mind, like a wave of electricity and memory crashing through his brain. Lara's body lifted off the ground, floating in silence. Her eyes glowed white, brighter than before. Symbols lit up on the floor beneath her, old alien markings. The console Soraya had been working on came to life. Signals burst into the sky above the ruined hangar. Lara spoke, not with words, but with energy. It hit the overseer first. Its metal began to crack. It screamed, a high-pitched digital howl as its armor peeled away and its circuits failed. Its red light flickered and died. One by one, the hunters collapsed. Jack stared, frozen. What? What did she do? Soraya opened her eyes, coughing. She activated the beacon, and she used the override code. Jack looked up. In the clouds, above, lights began to appear. Ships. Soraya smiled weakly. The rebellion heard us. Lara floated down gently and collapsed in Jack's arms. He held her tight. I've got you. It's over. But Soraya shook her head. No, this was only the first wave. The Corps knows she's alive now. They'll come in force. Jack looked at the sky, his arms still around the girl who just saved them all. Then let them come. A new beginning. The sky was no longer quiet. Through the broken roof of the hangar, Jack stared up at dozens, no, hundreds, of ships descending through the clouds. Not enemy vessels. These were different. Marked with a glowing silver crest, their engines pulsing soft blue instead of blood red. A symbol of hope, Soraya whispered. They came. Jack looked down at Lara, still unconscious in his arms. Her glow had faded, but her heartbeat was steady. Her small chest rose and fell like waves after a storm. She was alive. Barely. He knelt beside Soraya, who leaned against the wreckage of the old console. Her breathing was shallow. Her armor cracked, her face pale. You made the call, Jack said. You saved her. Soraya shook her head. She saved us. Outside the hangar, a deep hum echoed as one of the rebel dropships landed. Soldiers poured out, not like the hunters but humanoid in light armor, with clean lines and soft-colored lights on their shoulders. One of them, a tall alien with silver skin and glowing blue eyes, approached cautiously. Jack stood, still holding Lara. She needs help, he said. The soldier nodded once. We've been waiting for this day. Medics rushed forward and took Lara gently. They placed her in a glowing stasis cradle, her body floating in soft energy. Jack turned to Soraya. Come on, let them treat you. Soraya shook her head again. No time. What do you mean? He asked, fear creeping in. She looked at him. They'll send more. The Corps mind never gives up. You know this. You saw what one overseer could do. The next will not come alone. Jack clenched his jaw. Then we fight again. No, she said. We prepare. But we can't stay here. The rebel commander stepped forward. Earth is no longer hidden. The signal she sent woke many things. Not just us. The Corps will come with full force. Jack's heart sank. So we leave? Soraya looked at him. You have a choice. He stared at her, confused. Soraya continued. Your brother gave his life to save Lara, and now she's bonded with you. That wasn't an accident. It means something. Jack looked at the child. Her tiny fingers now moved gently in her sleep. She was still dreaming, still fighting, still powerful. You want me to go with you? He asked. No, Soraya said. We want you to lead. The silence was heavy. Jack had spent years hiding from war, from pain, from himself. He was no hero, no commander, just a man who answered a knock at his door. But now, he was holding the future in his arms. He stood slowly. If I leave... What happens to Earth? The rebel commander answered. We'll place a shield around it, cloak satellites, defenses, but if you stay here, they'll find her again. Earth won't survive the second wave. Jack looked at Soraya. She nodded, barely holding her body up. You're part of this now. Her blood is your blood. Her path is yours. He exhaled deeply, and for the first time in years, he felt alive. All right, he said. Then we don't run. We rise. The commander saluted. We'll brief you aboard the flagship. The child must rest. You'll need training, both of you. Her name is Lara, Jack said gently. And she's not just a child. She's hope. He turned one last time toward the burned-out hangar, toward the broken world he was leaving behind. The home where this began, the night she knocked on his door. He walked into the ship with Soraya at his side and Lara sleeping peacefully, the galaxy waiting beyond the stars. Behind them, Earth remained quiet again, but not forgotten. Because one day, they'd return, and, when they did, humanity wouldn't just survive, it would lead. The end.